future Mill wanted a grand wedding with celebrities to protect her image, but when we refused, she physically attacked her own son, destroyed his belongings, and made the whole family watch, so we eloped and got married without them. I, F24, am planning a wedding with my fiancé, M27. We've been in a long-distance relationship for 2 years and are planning to get married next year. My parents are supportive, but his mom isn't. It's not because she dislikes me, but because she's afraid the wedding won't be grand enough and that she'll be embarrassed. She wants a big wedding and insists on inviting important people from our office, which isn't what my fiancé and I want, especially since we're still in junior positions. She told us to postpone the wedding until we're 30 and can afford something more extravagant. If we still can't do it by then, she wants us to get married abroad to avoid embarrassment on her part. My fiancé has explained our plans and expressed how much he wishes she could be more understanding. But this has been a recurring pattern in his family. His mother often acts as if the world revolves around her. She doesn't take no for an answer. Now she's saying she won't come, and neither will her side of the family, if we move forward with our current plan. My fiancé, my family, and I are all okay with moving forward. But deep down, we both want her there. We've done everything we could to involve her, but she insists it has to be done her way. I find it hard to accept, especially since we're the ones paying for the wedding. We even suggested therapy, but she refused. Now she says this whole situation is stressing her out and that she's losing sleep over it. For context, I live in Southeast Asia, where weddings are usually family-centered. But in our religion, the groom's parents are not required to be present. I don't want my fiancé to feel like he has to choose between me and his family. I've tried hard to earn his parents' approval, and they have no issue with me as a person. It's just the wedding that doesn't meet his mom's expectations. My fiancé is a wonderful man and wants to marry me, with or without his mom's blessing. But I keep wondering, is this a battle I should keep fighting, or is it something I need to let go of? Comments where Op has replied, Comment 1, have the wedding you want, and let her come or not. She probably really just wants you guys to wait to get married so she doesn't have to lose her little boy or something stupid. Oop, some part of me feels the same way. My fiancé's parents have huge fights over small things, and his mom drags the kids into it. She expects her sons to watch and even step in, which I think is unfair. On top of that, she expects my fiancé to cover her travel and some household bills. He's basically been the backbone of the family, acting like a second parent to his younger brothers. Comment 2, she created an excuse instead of just saying I think this is a bad idea. Knowing someone long distance is very different from living together. I think you should try living together before you make a legal commitment. She should have just been honest about her concerns. Oop, I don't think distance was the real issue. My fiancé and I have been traveling to see each other 3 to 4 times a year for 2 to 4 weeks each time. The problem seems deeper. Her mom has a certain image she wants to maintain around her friends. One time, she even told my fiancé she was embarrassed because her husband doesn't have a high-paying job like her friends' husbands. She said it wasn't fair to her. That felt pretty harsh, especially considering her husband could afford to buy a 2-story house in cash. Comment 3, you have to put a stop to her interference, and the best time is now. Your fiancé might need extra support or counseling because it's hard as heck to change the pattern of a lifetime, but your marriage will be a misery if you set a pattern of living up to her expectations. If she wants to tell people she boycotted your wedding because it wasn't posh enough, let her. Oop, I agree. My fiancé and I have done couples therapy, but I've been encouraging him to go on his own too. I've been in individual therapy regularly. One thing I've noticed is that he avoids conflict, especially with his mom. She can be manipulative and gets hysterical when people don't do what she wants. That's been his whole life, so I know it'll take time for him to learn how to set healthy boundaries. Thanks for your comment. Smile. Comment 4, why does she care about inviting higher-ups from work? Does she work there too? Oop, nope, she hasn't worked in over 25 years. I think it's more about her social life and how much she cares about her public image. She's friends with higher-ups and some celebrities, so I think she feels pressure to keep up appearances, which she couldn't afford. Commenter 5, your fiancé needs to figure out how he feels about this. And the problem is that how he feels about having a mother who is disordered and domineering and codependent like this means that it's very confusing for him emotionally. If he can't handle standing up to her and comfortably let her have her own process while simply proceeding to have the wedding that the two of you choose, then he might not be ready to get married at all. So watch this carefully. Oop, that's also how I feel. I think he needs to learn how to create healthy boundaries and say no, as his mom has been very dominating in their family. I'm suggesting that he go to therapy and learn. And I agree with you, if he wants to side with his mom, I think not having him in the wedding will be a wiser choice for my future. Additional information from Oop, She reached out to me personally with different excuses, saying my fiancé's family is not on board with it and wouldn't bless our marriage. She wanted my fiancé to wait until he's more financially mature and stable before building a family. I told her we're both adults and this is our decision regardless of what she has to say. And now Fmiel is calling my fiancé and becoming hysterical on the phone. Update 1. Hi everyone, this is an update from my previous post. After a few days, she reached out to me personally. She said she didn't approve of the wedding because she felt my fiancé wasn't financially stable enough yet. For context, we're both financially independent and covering all wedding costs ourselves. I replied politely, saying I'm sorry she felt that way, but assured her I'm not a financial burden to her son since I want to have my career and all. I also said we're both pursuing our goals and there's no reason to wait to get married. Apparently, that set her off really badly. She called my fiancé for 3 hours, hysterically yelling about how disrespectful it was for me to reply with a long message. When he got home, she continued yelling and even called me names. She made his brother sit there and watch everything. No one defended him. This went on for several days. Every time he came home, she'd start yelling again for hours. It reached a point where my fiancé packed up all his things to move out. But before he could leave, his mom found out, trashed all his belongings, literally ripped out his luggage in two, and called him horrible names. It didn't stop there. She physically attacked him and made the entire family watch. I still can't process how fast everything escalated. It happened so suddenly and so brutally that I took a 24-hour flight the next day and went straight home, completely shaken. I know he needed me that time, and not being able to do anything if on far would have killed me. Now, he hasn't gone home since, and we've decided to elope next year. I still can't believe this all started because she wanted a prestigious wedding. It's heartbreaking to see how far it went, but at least we're standing together. Please wish us luck and peace as we move forward. Update 2. Hi everyone, here's a final update from my previous posts. In short, we're married now. A few weeks ago, we officially became husband and wife. In the end, we decided to keep things small and intimate. We had a simple celebration with my extended family, good food, and lots of laughter. Of course, not having his side of the family there was painful, especially for him. I know there's still sadness underneath it all, and I don't think anyone imagines their wedding turning out this way. But despite everything, we still had such a beautiful day together. I'm incredibly proud of him. I know it wasn't an easy decision for either of us to get married under these circumstances, especially in a Southeast Asian country where family expectations and approvals can be very strong. But I saw firsthand how difficult this entire situation was for him, and despite everything, he never stopped choosing kindness. His family stopped contacting him for a while after calling him and my family horrible names, insulting my family for being poor, and even demanding that my family repay all the money they had spent raising him. We honestly don't know what the future looks like with his family, and maybe that's okay for now. Right now, we're focusing on building a healthy and peaceful life together instead of chasing approval that may never come. Thank you to everyone who showed us kindness and support on my previous posts. Your words genuinely helped us get through some very dark moments. For now, we're happy, and that's enough for us. Next story. My boyfriend, 41M, and I, 35F, have been together for almost 3 years. We have what I would describe as a pretty solid relationship. We have enough similar interests to enjoy activities together, but enough divergent ones that we also have full, complete lives outside of the relationship. We already spend almost every night together and plan to move in together when his lease is up in the fall. We work about 3 miles from each other and on some days carpool depending on schedules. Typically during the work week, I get up and make breakfast and pack our lunches. This has been ongoing since probably 6 months in. Usually for breakfast I don't do anything crazy: oatmeal, cereal, scrambled eggs and toast. Normal breakfast stuff. For lunch, I pack sandwiches, chips or pretzels, some sort of fruit, and a couple of days a week, a sweet treat. I always make his portions larger than mine and he's never complained before about any of it. Today we went to lunch and stopped at a nearby park. I was sitting across the picnic table from him when I noticed some yellow on his shirt and made a comment, "You have yellow on you," joke. He looked over and scratched it away. There was a lot of it and I mindlessly said, "Did you take a mustard bath before lunch?" And he just turned bright red. After some questions as to why he was embarrassed, the truth came out. I don't make him large enough meals, and almost every day for the past 2 or so years he takes his 15-minute morning break and walks to a nearby convenience store, where he purchases what can only be described as a second breakfast hot dog. I recognize this sounds ridiculous, but I am so hurt and upset that he has been starving all this time and never wanted to say anything. Of course, now I am embarrassed because he thinks it is all the funniest thing to ever happen, But I am really, really bothered that instead of sharing his discomfort with me like a normal person, he just had a mid-morning hot dog for months on end. The conversation eventually ended up with us both mad, me for what I feel is deception, him for what he feels is me blowing this all out of proportion. Do I just ignore it, or is this indicative of bigger problems? Edit, he is the one who said he was starving, not me. There's a whole lot of focus on that word choice, so wanted to clarify. I appreciate everyone's thoughts. Update, so, I read everyone's comments and found most people thought I was overreacting and a handful thought I was a psycho BTCH. By the end of the day I was feeling pretty bad. Some points of clarification. It was not the consumption of hot dogs that bothered me. It just seemed really weird to me that this was a 2-year habit he had never mentioned to me before. That's, like, 500 times this has happened and it never came up. He knows that I have a chai latte obsession. I don't tell him every time I go get one, but he's aware that I hit up the coffee shop, and sometimes he stops by for me. I would have reciprocated, is all. We are both detail-oriented people, so oftentimes we discuss the minutiae of our days. I don't care what he eats. I am not trying to portion control anything or be a sole source of food. Most people seem to think I am a control freak. I'm not. He initially was defensive about the secret hot dog parties and told me I was starving him. I got upset because I just wished I had known. I am not a crazy person who would have been mad. I would have just asked if he wanted more food, or if he was fine with a mid-afternoon snack. I did not really ban hot dogs in my home due to a tragic dachshund accident. Come on now. Anyway, I don't guess much of that matters now because things have taken a turn for what I perceive to be the worse. Like I said, I was feeling like a shitheel by the end of the day, so I stopped by the grocery store on my way home and bought him 3 cans of Vienna sausages, which I presented with a verbal apology to him before dinner. Before I get more mean messages about meat choices, I know Vienna sausages are not hot dogs. I just thought they were funnier. He laughed and we moved on. During dinner, which was not Vienna sausages in case you wondered, we were talking about everything and I mentioned the original post I had made and he asked to see it. So he read it while I was cleaning up my kitchen, and when I got done and went into the living room, he was sitting there with tears in his eyes. I asked him what was wrong and he took a deep breath and told me that he felt bad so many people had told me I was off the deep end. I was really confused by this point, so asked why he felt that way. Turns out the reason I didn't know about his daily hot dog is because he has been meeting an ex there to take their morning break together. The girl is his college sweetheart who stayed in the city after school. They broke up years before we even met, so I only know of her abstractly. He has always spoken fondly of her, and according to him they just grew apart. However, it seems that she has a job working nearby the convenience store he frequents, and once they realized, via Facebook, I knew they were friends on there. It did not bother me. See, I am not controlling. They were working in close proximity. They decided to meet up at the store. So they go there 4 or 5 days a week, get their snacks, and chat. He says it's just been talking. She's got a boyfriend. He says they don't really talk about their actual lives, they just shoot the breeze. I asked him why he didn't tell me about this before now, and he said he didn't think it was a big deal, but that he also didn't want me to ask him about it or be suspicious. I don't know. I feel like having secret ex-girlfriend meetings that happen to include hot dogs is a lot different from having secret hot dogs. So I guess the update is that I am still upset, although I feel like now things are maybe more justified. I tried to not overreact, told him that this was all pretty fucking weird that he has hung out with an ex, briefly as it may be, daily for nearly 2 years without mentioning it. He said he didn't have any intention of stopping his morning chats with the ex, so I needed to learn to deal with it. I don't know. I honestly just feel really sad and gross right now. Also, he left the Vienna sausages at my place.